Students gather as an announcement criticizes a student for acting out of conduct during the previous week. A group of girls discusses the physical and mental toll the incident took on their classmate. A faculty member at the podium calls for the student to come forward and reflect on her actions in front of the whole school. The white-haired girl makes a grand entrance, running through the crowd toward the stage while students comment on her appearance. Her friend quickly hands over a prepared review book for her to use during the public apology. Standing before the entire school, she begins her speech by admitting she is ashamed of her past mistakes. The surrounding students whisper and laugh, skeptical of her sudden change in attitude and identity. She continues her speech, though her confusing phrasing about studying for a blog pauses a moment of awkwardness. The teacher looks on with a mix of relief and skepticism, hoping she has finally learned her lesson. After the assembly, she playfully scolds her friend for giving her a script with words she couldn't even pronounce. Transitioning into a model student, she spends her time in class diligently taking notes and studying textbooks. Her friend watches in disbelief, noticing how much her habits and appearance have shifted recently. Other classmates gossip behind her back, comparing her academic standing to the school's top students. Determined to improve her life, she remains focused on her writing regardless of her surroundings. She prepares her notebook, ready to tackle the academic challenges ahead with a fresh start. The teacher begins the next lesson, signaling the start of a rigorous study session for the class. Looking at complex math equations, she realizes just how much work it will take to reach her university goals. During language class, she actively participates by asking the teacher for clarification on difficult terms. The instructor is impressed by her enthusiasm and agrees to slow down the lecture for her. In another part of the school, a group of boys discusses her surprising new quiet and studious demeanor. One boy gets a sharp reprimand from his friend for making a disrespectful comment about her. Rumors about her transformation continue to spread through the school's social media chat groups. The school clock indicates the end of the day, but her work is far from over. She informs her friend that she is heading home immediately to continue her studies instead of hanging out. Her peers watch her leave, convinced that she has completely changed her priorities due to past heartbreak. As she exits the building, a hand reaches out to block her path, stopping her in her tracks. A boy with red hair and headphones intercepts her, holding her chin to see if she is feeling all right. He looks at her with a calm expression, questioning why she is acting so differently. She stares back in shock, recognizing the boy as Lu Fang. Fei Fei tries to play off a school incident as a minor misunderstanding, but her mother isn't buying the excuses. Desperate to fix her grades, she pleads with her mom for a tutor to help her catch up. The situation goes from bad to worse when her mother decides to block all her credit cards as punishment. At lunch, Fei Fei tests the loyalty of her social circle by asking if anyone can lend her some cash. The group's meal is cut short when a stern teacher catches them hanging around after the bell has already rung. In the chaos, her so-called friends dash off, leaving the bill unpaid and the vendor shouting after them. Facing the consequences alone, Fei Fei realizes just how unreliable her current friendships really are. Back in the classroom, she remains laser-focused on her vocabulary notes, even as her phone buzzes with constant distractions. After a quick apology to the instructor for the noise, she ignores the messages to keep her academic momentum going. As the school day ends, Fei Fei walks with her peers while trying to maintain her new studious path. A red-haired acquaintance pulls up on a sleek motorcycle, drawing a crowd of admiring students. Hoping to avoid a scene, Fei Fei tells her friends to keep moving while she tries to brush him off. The rider isn't about to let her walk away that easily, keeping his eyes fixed on her. He suddenly picks her up, much to her annoyance as she demands to be set back on the ground. He places a safety helmet on her head, claiming that her company is more important than his prized bike. Despite her protests about needing to finish her homework, he accelerates and takes her away from the school. Her classmates watch the dramatic exit, completely misinterpreting the situation as a bold romantic move. They arrive at a local gaming cafe, leaving Fei Fei dizzy from the high-speed transit. When the guy makes an inappropriate remark about their ride, Fei Fei immediately tells him to get his mind out of the gutter. They head inside the cafe where a group of gamers is surprised to see him bringing a girl along. The regulars explain that as the owner of the cafe, he can bring whoever he wants to the establishment. Rather than joining the gaming session, Fei Fei sets up her workspace and prepares to tackle her assignments. She ignores the surrounding noise and the snacks provided to focus entirely on her textbook. Even with people shouting over their games nearby, her determination to learn doesn't waver. She finds the curriculum challenging and struggles to see how historical figures relate to her current life. The atmosphere in the cafe shifts when a new arrival catches the attention of the red-haired owner and his friends. Hearing a specific name, Fei Fei pauses her writing and looks up to see who has entered the room. A student stops by her table to retrieve a writing utensil that has fallen to the floor. Ni Chen Yi stands before her, looking calm as he makes an unexpected appearance at the gaming hub. Since no tags from the provided images, 134-168, Ni Chen Yi enters the scene looking aloof and detached. Fei Fei feels deeply embarrassed, worrying that he has completely forgotten her. Lu Fang leans over as Ni Chen Yi remains focused on his gaming screen. Lu Fang offers to walk Fei Fei out, but she immediately declines the offer. Fei Fei flees the room while her peers mock the doodles in her textbook. A funny drawing of a historical figure on a scooter is revealed in her book. Ni Chen Yi's legendary reputation as a top-tier student is highlighted. Fei Fei stares into the restroom mirror, reflecting on her current situation. A flashback shows Ni Chen Yi confronting a group of students in the school gym. He stands victorious, but injured after brief physical altercation. Ni Chen Yi demonstrates his athletic side while playing basketball. A close-up captures his intense and sharp gaze. Fei Fei watches from the side as a student confesses her feelings to him. Ni Chen Yi rejects the girl harshly with a sudden, cold gesture. The girl is left sobbing on the floor following the encounter. Fei Fei comforts the student while questioning Ni Chenyi's lack of empathy. Ni Chenyi approaches again, telling Fei Fei to move out of his way. His boots click on the floor as the tension rises during his approach. He ignores them both and continues walking down the hallway. Fei Fei resolves to stay away from such a volatile individual. She reaches for a door handle, intending to turn to her studies. Upon opening the door, she accidentally bumps right into Ni Chenyi. Her hair becomes tangled in his clothing during the accidental collision. She feels flustered by the sudden close proximity and his scent. Ni Chenyi reaches out to help untangle her hair from his shirt. Fei Fei looks up, stunned by his unexpected and calm assistance. She rushes away after a quick, embarrassed apology. A small keepsake is left behind on a metal surface during the rush. Lu Feng and Fei Fei bicker while traveling together on his bike. Fei Fei pulls his ear to insist he takes her academic goals seriously. Their argument continues as they ride off into the distance. A luxurious living room sets the stage for a tense late-night arrival as the family waits for answers. Fei Fei enters her home only to find her mother, Aunt May, and Chu Mei gathered together to confront her. Looking flustered and apologetic, Fei Fei tries to explain why she stayed out past her curfew. Aunt May expresses her concern while mentioning how a loud noise in the room alerted everyone that Fei Fei wasn't actually inside studying. The mother scolds her daughter for her perceived irresponsibility and for coming home in the middle of the night. To prove her recent academic efforts, Fei Fei presents her completed homework before heading off to rest. Her mother watches her walk away with a skeptical and deeply disappointed expression. Back in her room, Fei Fei is devastated to discover that her expensive collection of skincare products has been destroyed. Shards of glass and spilled liquids litter the floor after what appears to be a major accident. Chu Mei apologizes profusely, claiming she slipped and fell while she was in the bathroom. Fei Fei brushes off the financial loss and thanks her friend for trying to cover for her earlier that night. The mood shifts to panic when Fei Fei learns that a major monthly exam is scheduled to take place in just 3 days. Desperate to pass, Fei Fei pleads for help with her studies, but Chu Mei suggests the elite class materials might be too difficult for her to understand. Chu Mei questions the sudden academic drive, wondering if it's fueled by a rivalry with another student. As Chu Mei prepares to leave the room, her purple beaded charm gets snagged on the door handle and falls. Fei Fei picks up the dropped item and realizes it's the exact charm she thought she had lost a long time ago. A startled Chu Mei quickly claims she only borrowed the accessory for a school activity and forgot to return it. Fei Fei generously tells her she can use any of her items, missing the underlying tension in the room. The next day at school, a group of students mocks the rumor that Fei Fei is actually trying to succeed in her classes. Fei Fei's loyal friends are outraged by the malicious gossip being spread by their rivals outside the classroom. Refusing to take the insults lying down, Fei Fei aggressively confronts a classmate to demand an end to the disrespect. Standing tall with her allies, she prepares to teach the group of gossiping students a much-needed lesson. The rival group is visibly shaken by the sudden and intense confrontation. Fei Fei's friend blocks the entrance to a room, keeping the troublemakers from moving forward. The girls protest loudly and threaten to involve the teachers to get their way. Confusion and anger spread through the group as they find themselves completely barred from the area. Fei Fei's friend delivers a stinging retort, telling the rivals that their toxic words are polluting the school air. With the bell ringing, the rival students worry about the consequences of being late for their lectures. Fei Fei finally emerges with a look of satisfaction, having finished whatever business she had inside. The two friends walk away with a smirk, leaving the frustrated rivals behind as class begins. In a quiet corner of the school, a group of students' corners appear and mocks his background. Despite the physical confrontation leaving marks on his face, the student remains stoic and reminds his attackers that it's time for class. Qin Shi is a top student from a remote mountain area who earned a spot at the prestigious Mingde Middle School through his academic excellence. Despite his high rankings, he faces constant bullying from his peers for being a quiet loner. In the future, this hardworking student is destined to become a billionaire internet mogul after rising from poverty. Fei Fei recalls her past life as a famous actress where she struggled just to get a role in a series he funded. The narrative shifts back to the present, focusing on the intense gaze of the young scholar. A bully aggressively grabs Qin Shi by the collar and threatens to strike him for being a top performer. Fei Fei steps in and firmly catches the bully's wrist to stop the physical confrontation. She calmly bluffs that an elite class teacher is approaching to scare the troublemakers away. The bullies decide to retreat, leaving with a final warning for the lone student. Fei Fei watches as the group walks away, knowing the incredible success Qin Shi will eventually achieve. She feels a sense of satisfaction for doing the right thing and intervening in the fight. Offering a hand, Fei Fei kindly asks the boy if he is alright after the encounter. Qin Shi coldly rejects her help and walks away, accusing her of being just as bad as the bullies. Fei Fei is left stunned by his hostile attitude despite her rescue attempt. Her friends are completely confused when Fei Fei ignores the insult and expresses how cute she finds the future tycoon. Students at the elite school begin following various superstitions to ensure success on their upcoming exams. Fei Fei carefully arranges lucky bamboo in her room as a charm for academic achievement. She adopts unusual habits, like eating specific snacks and avoiding hair washing, to supposedly preserve her knowledge. To cover all bases, she lights candles to perform a ritual for better grades. Fei Fei goes as far as setting up a small shrine with food offerings to the school's top student, Ni Chenyi. Armed with her pen and a determined spirit, she prepares to change her fate through this test. During the actual exam, she finds herself struggling to understand the complex wording typing of the questions. The math section proves to be a disaster, leaving her completely overwhelmed and dizzy. After the session, she admits to her friends that she filled in every answer, even when she was guessing. Other students nearby mock her efforts, expecting her to fail once the results are posted. A massive crowd of anxious students gathers in the hallway to see the final exam rankings. Fei Fei and her companions search through the lists of top performers, hoping for a miracle. Her rivals laugh and suggest she should start looking for her name from the very bottom of the list instead. A friend tries to steer Fei Fei away from the board as the reality of her score becomes clear. Fei Fei stares in disbelief as she finds her name ranked nearly last in the entire grade. The school canteen sits empty before the lunch rush begins. Lu Fang approaches the counter with his friends, ready to order. He points toward the meat dishes, specifically requesting the diced chicken and beef. His friends exchange a determined look behind his back. They immediately intervene, demanding the server provide him with a plate of spinach, cabbage, and bok choy instead. When he tries to order a soda, they block him and insist he takes a bottle of clear lime-flavored water for his health. Lu Fang stares down at his tray of nothing but green vegetables with a look of pure defeat. He narrows his eyes at his companions, suspecting they are hiding something from him. The group whispers among themselves, worried that their hints about his relationship status are being ignored. Lu Fang gets annoyed, asks if they've done something illegal, but they quickly pivot to awkward flattery. He finds their sudden praise repulsive and tells them to stop immediately. The boys even suggest he change his signature red hair to a less conspicuous green color. While eating his broccoli, Lu Fang stubbornly insists that he prefers his current style. Realizing he isn't catching on, the friends decide to take the conversation to their digital group chat. Lu Fang checks his phone to find a string of turtle emojis, leaving his friends sweating in the background. He refuses to believe their implications, asserting that his relationship with Fei Fei is perfectly fine. The entire group collapses in total frustration at his refusal to see the truth. A student with long purple hair approaches Lu Fang to thank him for helping her to the infirmary previously. Fei Fei and her friends walk into the area just as the interaction is taking place. The girl presents a decorated cupcake as a gift of gratitude. She offers a friendly smile while waiting for him to accept the token. The surrounding students are stunned, gossiping about how Lu Fang managed to win over the school's most popular girl. Lu Fang looks at the gift with a curious expression. He accepts the cupcake from the girl, acknowledging her thanks with a smile. Fei Fei's friends try to keep her focused on her vegetables while she watches the scene from a distance. Fei Fei internally hopes that Lu Fang's new interest will allow her to finally end their current arrangement. Lu Fang suddenly appears behind Fei Fei and places the gifted cupcake directly onto her tray. Fei Fei awkwardly thanks him and suggests he should leave now that the delivery is finished. He looks at her intently, clarifying that he kept the treat specifically for her. Lu Fang leans forward to initiate brief physical contact against Fei Fei's cheek. Fei Fei is left completely flustered and blushing while her friends watch in total shock. He maintains a smug expression, declaring that the gesture was the only thank you gift he wanted. Fei Fei acknowledges Lu Fang's undeniable charm despite his complicated personality. Her friends point out that while he is polite to others, he seems to reserve special treatment exclusively for her. Recalling the betrayal she witnessed in her past life, Fei Fei remains determined not to fall into the same trap again. As she walks through the campus, she notices other students whispering and looking in her direction. Suddenly, the top student Ni Chenyi approaches her with a stern expression. Fei Fei looks up, confused by his sudden appearance. Without a word, he begins removing his uniform jacket in front of her. He instructs her to wrap the coat around her waist to cover an embarrassing stain and head to the restroom immediately. Later, her friends are shocked to learn that the typically cold and distant student went out of his way to help her. Fei Fei brushes off the incident, claiming they are nothing more than acquaintances. Despite her dismissive tone, she feels she now owes him a significant favor for saving her reputation. She eventually takes the borrowed garment to a professional cleaner to ensure it is returned in perfect condition. The staff member explains that the specific fabric makes the cleaning process difficult and more expensive. Fei Fei laments the high cost, realizing the service fee is quickly draining her limited budget. She later joins her friends at a modest fast food restaurant to save money. She explains her current financial constraints, noting that she can no longer afford lavish outings. The group discusses her situation while observing the busy restaurant environment. Their meal is interrupted when a disruptive customer begins harassing a young waiter. The man claims he was injured by a spill and demands that the staff member assist him. The harasser becomes physically overbearing, making the young waiter visibly uncomfortable. A tray of food is suddenly slammed into the man's face to stop his aggressive behavior. Fei Fei steps in to confront the man, expressing her total disgust at his conduct. The man yells in anger as he is humiliated in front of the other diners. Fei Fei and her friends stand their ground, calling out the man's inappropriate behavior in a public space. She continues to lecture the customer on his cowardice for bullying a worker while intoxicated. Unable to deal with public backlash, the man finally flees the restaurant. The waiter, revealed to be Kinshe, offers a brief and quiet word of thanks. Fei Fei quickly blocks his path, reminding him that this is the second time she has intervened on his behalf. He looks back at her, asking what she wants him to do to settle the debt. Lu Fang approaches Fei Fei after his game, mistakenly thinking she came to cheer him on. while she secretly worries about returning a borrowed uniform. A basketball is caught mid-air as the game wrap-up continues. Ni Chenyi tells his teammates to head to the meal first, while he stays behind for a moment. Lu Fang insists on taking Fei Fei to the dressing room before they head out for a celebratory barbecue. Fei Fei is mortified when she is accidentally led straight into the boys' locker room, while everyone is still changing. The students inside react with shock and embarrassment at the sudden intrusion. Fei Fei scolds Lu Fang for his carelessness, but he just laughs off the awkward situation. While waiting outside, Fei Fei tries to use the time to memorize her essays despite the chaotic day. Ni Chenyi walks past, prompting Fei Fei to call out and stop him. She nervously hands over the freshly cleaned school uniform she borrowed from him earlier. Without saying much, Ni Chenyi takes the garment and puts it on immediately. Fei Fei hesitates, wondering if she should offer to buy him a brand new one, just in case he still minds the previous mishap. She quickly says her thanks and tries to make a swift exit to avoid any more awkwardness. Lu Fang stops her from leaving, reminding her of their plan to grab a meal together. The group gathers around a large barbecue table, discussing gaming strategies and team roles over dinner. Fei Fei continues to focus on her studies at the table, sitting right next to a quiet Ni Chenyi. She takes a quick sip of water to stay refreshed while reciting her lessons. Ni Chenyi points out that she's just repeating words without actually understanding the meaning behind the essay. Fei Fei freezes when she realizes she accidentally picked up and drank from Ni Chenyi's glass. The realization causes her to completely lose her composure in the middle of the meal. She quickly apologizes for the mistake, while he remains as calm and unbothered as ever. Fei Fei feels overwhelmed, thinking about how difficult it is to deal with someone as intense as him. Back at home, a fluffy white cat explores the furniture with plenty of energy. Fei Fei finds comfort in cuddling the small kitten she's been looking after. Her father warns her that the cat might be a wild one and suggests she find its owner soon. He remains skeptical about keeping the energetic animal in the house for long. Another family member suggests that if the cat misbehaves, they can just keep it in a safe enclosure. They admire how cute the kitten is, doubting that such a small creature could be truly wild. A digital notice appears, revealing that a local mansion is offering a massive $15,000 reward for the return of a missing ragdoll cat named Schrödinger. Fei Fei kneels down to comfort the kitten before heading to the property agency to find its owner. She informs Mr. Zhu that she has errands to run and won't be taking the car to school today. Fei Fei heads off on foot, determined to solve the mystery of the lost pet on her own. Chu Mei remains by the car, watching Fei Fei walk away with a calculating gaze. The valuable ragdoll cat, Schrödinger, waits patiently while being the subject of a high-reward search. Chu Mei decides to return the cat herself, hoping to secure a large sum of reward money. Things take a sharp turn when the cat defends itself, leaving a scratch on Chu Mei's hand. Chu Mei arrives at a grand estate, noticing it is even more impressive than Fei Fei's home. She is stunned to find Ni Chenyi standing at the gate of the massive residence. Putting on her best act, Chu Mei pretends the meeting at his home is a lucky coincidence. Schrödinger appears visibly distressed and unhappy while in Chu Mei's possession. The kitten struggles to get away, clearly uncomfortable with its current situation. Ni Chenyi watches coldly as the cat trembles on the ground in front of them. Chu Mei recognizes Ni Chenyi's volatile reputation and prepares to use it for her scheme. She lies to him, claiming that Fei Fei is the one who has been mistreating the poor animal. Ni Chenyi isn't interested in her story and bluntly tells her to get lost immediately. Chu Mei is left speechless and shocked by his harsh and direct dismissal. Fei Fei suddenly appears on the scene, frantically calling out for the missing kitten. She stops short, surprised to see both Ni Chenyi and Chu Mei standing together at the gate. The cat looks up at Fei Fei with big, expressive eyes, recognizing its true caretaker. Relieved to have found him, Fei Fei pulls the kitten into a protective and warm hug. Her relief turns to worry when she notices the kitten's paws are shaking from an injury. Chu Mei watches the interaction from a distance, her expression filled with pure jealousy. Fei Fei confirms she has reached the right address while Ni Chenyi looks on with a steady gaze. Ni Chenyi asks Fei Fei directly what she is doing standing in front of his house. The sudden question catches Fei Fei off guard, causing her to nearly drop the cat in surprise. Ni Chenyi invites her inside, surprisingly allowing her to enter his home with the kitten. The two head inside the estate together, leaving the tension of the street behind. Ni Chenyi hands Fei Fei a fresh pair of guest slippers to wear. Fei Fei gratefully accepts the footwear while apologizing for the intrusion. She notices the slippers are the exact same style she used to wear back in 10th grade. The family housekeeper, Zhang Ling, introduces herself and asks for the young lady's name. Zhang Ling is moved to tears because the usually antisocial Chenyi finally brought a classmate home. Chenyi cuts the emotional moment short by announcing that he is hungry for soup. Fei Fei realizes her mistake, having originally thought the kind woman was Chenyi's mother. Chenyi gently cradles his kitten, expressing his relief at having it back home safely. He explains that the pet is incredibly important to him and has been in his life for nearly a year. To show his gratitude, Chenyi offers to transfer a generous monetary reward to her bank account. Fei Fei's inner thoughts clash as she weighs his reputation for being harsh against his academic brilliance. Her internal logic determines that enduring a strict tutor is a fair price for better grades. Fei Fei gathers her courage and firmly declines the cash reward from her classmate. The top student is visibly surprised by her unexpected refusal of the money. Instead of payment, she begs him to share his his superior study methods and tutor her. She uses his love for the kitten as a bargaining chip to secure 3 months of lessons. Chenny agrees but sets strict conditions, including secret meetings on the rooftop and private study sessions at his home. Fei Fei is absolutely ecstatic that her plan to fix her grades is actually working. She shakes his hand vigorously, thanking him for giving her a chance to succeed. She quickly adds his contact information to her phone under a special genius nickname. With the deal sealed, Fei Fei bows politely and makes her exit for the evening. Back at school, her friends are completely baffled by the math required for online shopping discounts. Fei Fei brushes off the shopping talk and leaves the room, claiming her wallet is currently empty. Chenny sits alone by the classroom window, appearing deeply lost in his own thoughts. Fei Fei approaches from the outside, worrying that a light tap won't be enough to get his attention. She accidentally uses way too much strength and punches right through the window glass. Fei Fei is immediately mortified by her own accidental display of brute force. The rest of the class watches in pure terror, convinced she smashed the window in a fit of rage. The school administrator scolds Fei Fei for her poor academic performance and for damaging public property. Fei Fei looks down in shame while trying to explain her actions. Chenny suddenly steps in and takes the heat, claiming a girl wouldn't have the strength to break the glass on her own. He offers a ridiculous excuse, claiming a difficult math problem made him lose his cool and strike the window. Baffled by the genius's logic, the teacher tells them to pay for the repairs and get back to class. While sitting on the stairs, Chenny questions if she understands the difference between a light tap and a full-on smash. Fei Fei guiltily admits she only used a tiny bit of extra force because he was zoning out. She presents her recent exam papers and begs for his help to improve her failing grades. Chenny sets strict ground rules, stating he has no patience for people who quit halfway through a task. His blunt honesty strikes Fei Fei like a physical blow to her spirit. Fei Fei reflects on her history of getting easily distracted by cute animals instead of focusing on her books. Determined to change, she slams her hand down and vows to see the tutoring through to the end. She boldly announces her ambitious new goal of getting into a top-tier university. Chenny gives a small, genuine smile at her unexpected display of motivation. Touched by his reaction, she realizes he's the first person who hasn't laughed at her dreams. Chenny looks absolutely drained as he reviews her disastrous test scores. He gives a brutal breakdown of her academic failures, noting she knows almost nothing about math or literature. As the bell rings, Fei Fei rushes off to her next class to avoid being late. A nearby student watches in shock as Fei Fei runs past her in the hallway. The pink-haired girl stares in disbelief, having witnessed the entire interaction. She wonders how Fei Fei managed to get close to the normally unapproachable Chenny. When she tries to approach him herself with a book, Chenny coldly shuts her down and tells her to get lost. Her friend tries to comfort her, explaining that he treats every girl with the same icy attitude. The girl remains confused, remembering a time when he supposedly treated her with kindness. Chenny turns back with a sharp glare, revealing he knows exactly what she's been up to based on security footage. He calls her out for her lies, accusing her of trying to scam him while targeting Fei Fei. Chenny tells Fei Fei to stop daydreaming and hurry up as they prepare for their first official tutoring session. He presents a rigorous academic schedule covering literature and English to maximize her progress. Fei Fei is completely overwhelmed by the sheer volume of work expected in just 1 month. Chenny explains that setting high standards is the only way to truly push her boundaries and achieve her goals. Taking the advice to heart, Fei Fei vows to give it her all and meet these high expectations. Chenny continues meticulously drafting a daily routine to ensure no time goes to waste. He emphasizes the importance of broad reading to improve her essay writing and general knowledge. The session begins with Chenny carefully reviewing the errors on her previous exam papers. Fei Fei is initially impressed by how organized and clear his teaching methods are. 10 minutes into the lesson, the reality of the difficult material starts to set in. Chenny's patience wears thin as he questions her lack of varied reference material for her essays. He demands to know if she's actually following his logic, leaving her head spinning from the intensity. The tutor is pushed to his limit by her silly answers, while Fei Fei breaks down over a simple geography question. Fei Fei feels the crushing weight of the pressure, comparing his strictness to an entire board of deans. After the session, she checks if he's managing his own workload, despite the time spent tutoring her. Fei Fei tries to head home on her own, wishing him a good night's rest. Chenny insists on walking her home, prioritizing her safety despite the late hour. Even during the walk, he continues the lesson by quizzing her on historical philosophies. Fei Fei realizes that walking with such a strict tutor is far more stressful than walking alone. They finally arrive at her residence, and Fei Fei prepares to head inside for the night. She warns him that her mother might get the wrong idea if she sees them together every evening. Chenny accepts the boundary and offers a brief, polite farewell. Fei Fei waves as he departs, finally catching a break from the constant academic interrogation. Meanwhile, Chumei is seen working late into the night, proving there are no shortcuts to success. Fei Fei catches her roommate still awake and questions her sudden academic drive. After a brief exchange, Fei Fei heads off to get some much-needed sleep. Chumei stops her, looking concerned as she prepares to share some troubling news. Fei Fei is left stunned by the revelation that her former associates are still hanging around nearby. Fei Fei listens as a senior actress explains how beauty can become a burden that holds someone back from their true path. In her past life, she didn't understand this advice because she was too focused on her own vanity. She recalls being distracted by a former partner who only cared about his own popularity. Other students around her were equally shallow, easily swayed by looks rather than substance. A delinquent named Chao used to harass her in school and scare off anyone who tried to talk to her. The memory of his rude and dangerous behavior still leaves Fei Fei feeling unsettled. Her mother eventually intervened by hiring a private driver to escort her safely to classes. Lu Fang eventually stepped in to lead a group against the delinquent and his gang. The delinquent's father had to beg for a settlement to keep his son out of legal trouble. Zhao Qiao was forced to offer a forced apology, though his facial expression showed he didn't mean it. Fei Fei stood her ground and rejected the insincere apology, demanding he never show his face again. She walks through the city, reflecting on how he seemingly disappeared after that confrontation. A group of suspicious men nearly collide with Fei Fei while walking down the street. She stops and looks back at them, feeling an immediate sense of dread. After spotting a unique tattoo on one of the men, she realizes he is the person responsible for a tragedy in her previous life. Fei Fei runs across the street in a daze, barely noticing the traffic as she tries to process the discovery. She realizes the man is a total stranger, meaning someone else must have hired him. Following the suspicious group leads her to the entrance of a local bar. A staff member blocks her path, pointing out that she is clearly still a student in uniform. Passers-by notice her and try to pressure her into joining them for a drink. Fei Fei knows she can't get in looking like a student and wonders how to track the man inside. Unexpectedly, Zhao Chao appears with his own crew and recognizes her immediately. He grabs her arm and offers to sneak her inside, claiming his father owns the establishment. The delinquent mockingly backs off when she demands he release her. Fei Fei glares at him with pure disgust, telling him to stay out of her way. The delinquent continues to block her path, feigning offense that an old classmate would be so rude. Lu Fang arrives just in time to pull her close, asking why she is hanging around a place like this. Fei Fei decides to head home, realizing that the growing crowd makes finding the murderer nearly impossible, and she has a tutoring session waiting. Lu Fang hands off his car keys to a friend, insisting on personally escorting Fei Fei back. As they walk together, Fei Fei maintains a distance, clearly still bothered by the earlier events. She tells him to stop following her, insisting she can manage the trip home on her own. Lu Fang just smiles, teasingly asking who managed to get her into such a bad mood. Despite her annoyance, Fei Fei finds it difficult to stay angry while looking at his handsome face. She tries to brush him off again, telling him to go back and hang out with his friends instead of worrying about her. Lu Fang ignores her protests and continues to walk closely by her side. Fei Fei lets out a startled cry as she nearly trips or bumps into him during their walk. Lu Fang stops her to talk things out while she jokingly threatens to bite him if he doesn't let her go. She demands to know why he still keeps in contact with someone as troublesome as Zhu Cao. Lu Fang casually waves off the concern, explaining that they only ran into each other briefly and shared a short conversation. He pinches her cheek while lecturing her on how the real world requires a more nuanced approach than just liking or hating people. Fifi's inner self is frustrated that a high school student is trying to give her life lessons despite her previous career experience. She quickly changes the subject, calling him out for indulging in his smoking habit at his age. Lu Fang reminds her that she was once curious enough to try the habit herself in the past. He reassures her that she's safe as long as he's around, advising her not to take interpersonal relationships so seriously. Fei Fei wonders if his own feelings for her are just based on temporary interests rather than being genuine. She walks away in a huff, annoyed that she's letting her focus on studying be derailed by relationship drama. It hits her that she missed a perfect opportunity to finally break up with him because she was too distracted by their argument. Lu Fang watches her leave, quietly considering the possibility that his feelings for her might actually be real. Fei Fei finally makes it home and offers a quick apology for her tardiness. She finds Ni Chenyi looking completely drained and sleep-deprived behind a massive pile of study materials. The tutor presents a towering stack of books, demanding that she memorize all the key points for her various subjects within the week. Fei Fei isn't intimidated, confident that her past experience memorizing scripts will make this academic task a piece of cake. Ni Chenyi fires off a barrage of difficult classical literature questions to test the girl's knowledge. Fei Fei is completely overwhelmed, her head spinning from the complex academic interrogation. He scolds her for getting the answers wrong while she protests that his questions are far too difficult for the exam. He gives her a quick flick on the forehead as a playful punishment for her failure to answer correctly. Chenyi explains that literature exams are becoming more rigorous due to education reforms emphasizing traditional culture. The pair settles into a serious study session at the table while a fluffy cat naps peacefully nearby. Time slips away as the clock ticks late into the evening, marking their dedication to the material. Fei Fei focuses intently on her reading, determined to master the difficult subjects required for her success. An hour later, she stretches her sore shoulders, finally reaching the last of her geography homework. She notices that Chenyi has completely passed out at the table from pure exhaustion. Watching him sleep, she recalls having a crush on him during their first year of high school. She reflects on his cool personality and how well he actually gets along with others despite his stoic nature. As they walk together later, Fei Fei wonders how a science major can memorize liberal arts notes so effectively. Chenyi nonchalantly claims the material is easy enough to master in a single night if one is focused. Fei Fei mentions that math hasn't felt that hard lately, but her tutor remains unimpressed. He bluntly tells her that failing to understand the basics makes her unfit for college, leaving her in comical despair. Fei Fei arrives home and is surprised to find her mother having dinner at the house instead of meeting with clients. Her mother and a neighbor, Aunt May, look concerned as they prepare to question her about her recent behavior. Fei Fei quickly denies that she is dating anyone when confronted with a sudden accusation. Her mother's anger flares as she brings up rumors about Fei Fei skipping class to hang out with a red-haired boy. Fei Fei realizes with relief that they aren't actually talking about her secret study sessions with Chenny. She turns to Aunt May and demands to know why she is spreading false stories about her personal life. The confrontation heats up as Fei Fei points out the neighbor's daughter hasn't even returned home yet. Aunt May puts on a fake display of concern, claiming she only spoke up because she worries about the girl's future. Fei Fei's mother demands she show respect to her senior, but the teen is ready to prove her innocence. She opens her bag to reveal a stack of completed exercise books as physical evidence of her academic progress. The table is covered with her finished essays and history materials, proving she's been spending her time studying. Fei Fei's mother offers a sincere apology for the misunderstanding and reminds her to remain respectful toward her elders. The mother politely dismisses Aunt May for the night, suggesting she head back to her room to rest. Fei Fei and her mother watch as the neighbor departs, finally finding a moment of peace in their home. Pleased with her daughter's recent academic dedication, the mother gives Fei Fei an affectionate tap on the forehead. Fei Fei pulls her mother into a warm embrace, requesting that she no longer be compared to anyone else. Concerned about the recent gossip, Fei Fei asks if Aunt May can be reassigned to a different role to avoid further slander. The mother's expression softens with sadness as she reveals that Aunt May has a deep, life-saving history with their family. Overwhelmed by the memory of a past tragedy, the mother begins to recount a painful secret she has kept for years. A dramatic flashback reveals a massive house fire where Fei Fei's father risked everything to rush through the flames and save his family. Through tears, the mother explains how Aunt May played a critical role in alerting the neighbors and firefighters during the blaze. The weight of the past hangs heavy in the air as Fei Fei finally learns the tragic truth about her father's heroic end. Realizing the immense pressure her mother has been under to raise her alone, Fei Fei looks on with newfound understanding. The two share a comforting hug, solidifying their bond through the memory of the father's enduring love. A sentimental keepsake shows an old phone message where Fei Fei's father promised to work hard for their future. The scene shifts to the school courtyard, where a massive assembly of students prepares for synchronized morning exercises. A student leader takes charge of the formation, counting out the rhythm for the intense daily drills. Fei Fei's friend catches up with her during the routine, joking about finally seeing her back in the courtyard for exercise. Two male students struggle to keep their balance while attempting the coordinated leg-kicking movements of the drill. The boys continue their clumsy efforts to stay in sync with the rest of the energetic class. A student maintains a crouched position while carefully following the sequence of the physical education routine. Vibrant floral patterns and musical notes fill the air, signaling the start of a festive new school season. Fei Fei walks with her classmates as they discuss the elite class's secret dance preparations for the upcoming gala. Her friends excitedly reveal that Fei Fei has been selected as the class representative to perform at the prestigious New Year's event. Caught off guard by the sudden responsibility, Fei Fei admits she has no idea what kind of performance she should prepare. Students practice their fan dance routines in preparation for the upcoming New Year gala. The group continues their rehearsal, focusing on synchronized movements and precise posture. Onlookers admire the performer's grace, though some feel intimidated by the high skill level on display. Rival students watch the practice with a mix of jealousy and a grudging respect for the performer's talent. Fei Fei looks a bit overwhelmed by the pressure as she prepares to head back to the classroom. Chumei watches Fei Fei from a distance, her mind clearly working on a hidden agenda. Chumei approaches Fei Fei to suggest they spend the weekend together to catch up. Fei Fei immediately turns down the invitation, claiming she is already busy with other commitments. Chumei attempts to prove her loyalty by insisting she never leaked any personal secrets to Fei Fei's mother. Fei Fei offers a polite but distant response before continuing on her way. Sensing the growing rift, Chumei worries about losing her influence over her supposed friend. Chumei's frustration peaks as she realizes she can no longer rely on Fei Fei for financial favors or shopping trips. Fei Fei reflects on her previous life, remembering how toxic her connection with Chumei truly was. A flashback reveals a time when Fei Fei hired Chumei as a manager out of a misplaced sense of trust. Despite her professional appearance, Chumei's incompetence and poor decisions began to ruin Fei Fei's reputation in the industry. The professional relationship ended abruptly when Fei Fei refused to participate in Chumei's shady financial schemes. Fei Fei remembers when Chumei was her only companion in school, which made the eventual betrayal even more painful. Examining her past, Fei Fei realizes she was being exploited for her wealth and status the entire time. Fei Fei resolves to maintain a strictly polite distance and never trust Chumei with her heart again. She walks through the school hallway, determined to focus on her own future and academic goals. A disruptive student blocks the ale with his leg, making a ridiculous excuse about it being numb to annoy her. Fei Fei isn't amused by the prank and demands that the boy stop acting like a toddler. Attempting to bypass the obstacle, Fei Fei finds herself in a frustrating standoff with the troublemaker. The boy's refusal to move leads to an accidental stumble, causing a chaotic scene in the middle of the classroom. Classmates immediately begin to gossip, misinterpreting the clumsy accident as a romantic interaction between the two. Fei Fei quickly pulls away from Lu Fang, refusing to stay in his arms after the accidental fall. She gives him a firm shove, sending the persistent boy tumbling backward in his chair. Lu Fang lashes out at his classmates, telling them to stop their annoying singing and teasing. The school halls are buzzing with rumors as students notice Fei Fei is no longer following Lu Fang around. Other students comment on her improved appearance and the sudden shift in her personality. A fight nearly breaks out when one student suggests that Fei Fei might be available for someone else to date. The class remains divided on whether Fei Fei's new dedication to her studies is actually genuine. The teacher brings the chaotic morning to a halt, demanding that everyone stop talking and open their textbooks. Fei Fei tries to focus on her lesson, but she's stressed that her plan to dump Lu Fang is only making him more obsessed. Later, she wanders the school looking for someone to help her solve a complex math problem. She spots Qin sitting alone in a classroom, seemingly deep in study while staring at his device. Peeking over, she realizes he's not studying at all, but is actually looking at sophisticated phone hacking codes. In the background, a group of obnoxious students brags about their failed attempts to flirt with girls. One of the bullies checks his phone, frustrated that he's getting the cold shoulder. Suddenly, his device shuts down completely, leaving him confused and angry. He complains loudly about how this is his third phone to break in a row, blaming the hardware for his bad luck. Qin remains perfectly calm, hiding his involvement in the technical sabotage. Fei Fei is caught off guard when Ni suddenly appears right behind her. Qin glances toward the window, silently questioning if Fei Fei witnessed his digital mischief. Instead of reporting him, Fei Fei gives him an enthusiastic thumbs up to show her support. She quickly pivots to her original goal, showing Ni her math book to prove she's there for academic help. Fei Fei and Ni walk together through the building while wearing their indoor slippers. Fei Fei spots the adorable white cat Schrödinger and greets it with a smile. She picks up the small kitten and gives it a warm, happy hug. Ni prepares to help her work through a challenging math problem. Fei Fei focuses on her studies and successfully finishes her English exercises. 2 hours pass by, and she realizes it is finally time for her to head home. She gets ready to leave and calls out to Ni to say her farewells. Ni is busy on the balcony, peering through a telescope to observe the stars. He turns around and stops his stargazing once he hears her calling out to him. As they walk, he checks to see if she completed her assigned after-class reading. Fei Fei quotes a passage about the dangers of ambition while reflecting on her own path. She recalls a memory from her past life where she relied heavily on her appearance. Ni listens as she admits the text's conclusion is a bit too complex for her. He effortlessly recites the entire concluding paragraph of the philosophy text from memory. Fei Fei is absolutely amazed by his ability to remember every single word so perfectly. She feels a bit discouraged comparing her own understanding to that of the young author. Reflecting on her mother's guidance, she thinks about the value of contributing to society. She admits to herself that she was far too naive in her previous life. Fei Fei waves a cheerful goodbye, expressing how lucky she feels to have met him. Ni stands still and watches her walk away into the distance. He smiles to himself, impressed by how much effort she puts into her schoolwork. Later, Fei Fei stretches her sore neck after spending so much time leaning over her books. She notices a commotion outside the building and realizes that students are fighting. She watches the scene intently, curious about why the elite students are in a conflict. A group of students from the elite class is seen brawling on the ground during the break. Sancheng lands a heavy blow on Qin during a heated confrontation. Onlookers whisper about the fight, speculating that Qin snapped after being bullied over his scholarship. A group of girls gossips in shock about the news of a student being disqualified from their financial aid. Sancheng yells in a rage, ready to continue his assault. The surrounding students cheer for the violence, even going as far as setting up bets on the winner. Qin is knocked to the ground after taking another direct hit. Sancheng looms over his opponent, demanding that he get back up and keep fighting. Sancheng looks irritated as the crowd begins to realize the situation is getting out of hand. Qin lies on the floor, battered and struggling to recover from the physical altercation. Fei Fei heroically steps in between the two, using herself as a shield to stop the beating. Sancheng freezes in surprise when he sees Fei Fei blocking his path. Despite the intervention, Sancheng points a finger at the fallen student and issues a final warning. Seizing a moment of distraction, Qin lunges forward and punches Sancheng right in the face. Fei Fei calls out for the other students to help her break up the escalating brawl. As the chaos intensifies, Fei Fei is nearly caught in the crossfire before someone shouts a warning. A hand suddenly reaches out to pull Fei Fei away from the dangerous exchange of blows. Lu Fang holds Fei Fei back, insisting that she stay out of the dispute between the boys. Fei Fei struggles to get free while the two combatants continue to grapple in the background. Ni arrives on the scene and catches Qin, questioning why he's engaging in such a reckless fight. Sancheng's group tries to justify their actions, claiming Qin was just venting his frustrations. Ni stares them down with a look of pure annoyance and disapproval. Lu Fang shields Fei Fei's face with his hand while scolding the others for putting her in harm's way. Friends try to restrain an angry Sancheng as he continues to insult Qin's financial status. Fei Fei looks on with deep concern, wondering if the bullying is purely based on Qin's background. A group of fangirls watches from the sidelines, finding the intervention of the popular boys to be incredibly romantic. Fei Fei raises her voice to defend Qin, telling the crowd that being poor is nothing to be ashamed of. Fei Fei's eyes burn with determination as she keeps the secret of Qin's programming skills to herself. Fei Fei confronts Sancheng directly, pointing out the hypocrisy of his judgment over a simple phone purchase. Sancheng snaps at Lu Fang, telling him to control his girlfriend and stay out of his business. Lu Fang watches the scene unfold with a sharp and serious gaze as the situation escalates. Teachers rush to the scene, shouting for order while the crowd of students looks on in shock. An ambulance arrives at the school grounds with its sirens blaring to attend to the injured student. Onlookers discuss the severity of the fight and the potential consequences for everyone involved. Fei Fei urgently speaks with a medical professional, directing him toward the student who lost consciousness. An authority figure points the group toward the registrar's office to account for their actions during the brawl. Inside the office, the school administrator rubs his temples in frustration over the chaotic event. Ni Chenai stands calmly in front of the desk while the administrator demands a full report of the fight. The trio waits together in the office as the official investigation into the incident begins. A hand turns the doorknob as more faculty members arrive to join the disciplinary meeting. Teachers Zhang Hong and Li Yuling debate the details of the incident with the school official. Fei Fei speaks out boldly, arguing that the scholarship student is being unfairly targeted by bullies. A sudden silence falls over the room as Fei Fei's blunt words catch the adults off guard. Miss Lei reacts with anger, reprimanding Fei Fei for her perceived disrespect toward the faculty. Ni Chenyi intervenes, coolly offering to settle any financial compensation required for the injuries. Ms. Li warns Ni Chenyi not to let his academic success lead him into a pattern of trouble. The group decides to leave the office and head back to their classes as the tension finally breaks. The faculty members watch them go, discussing Ni Chenyi's arrogant but distinct personality. Lu Fang keeps a close eye on Fei Fei as they move through the school halls toward their next lesson. Concerned classmates approach Fei Fei, surprised she emerged from the tense office meeting unscathed. Lu Fang leads Fei Fei away from the crowd, stating that he needs to speak with her in private. Fei Fei looks confused as she is led into a quiet, secluded area for their talk. Lu Fang firmly closes the door behind them to ensure their conversation remains uninterrupted. He stands before her with a serious expression, challenging her to guess the reason for his secrecy. Fei Fei demands that Lu Fang either explain himself or get out of her way. Lu Fang questions why she has been helping Qin Shai so much lately, but she insists she was only trying to stop the bullying. He points out that she has changed and suggests she find someone better to spend her time with. Lu Fang brings her past behavior to challenge her sudden concern for the scholarship student. Out of nowhere, he suggests they take a trip together for New Year's Day. He looms over her to emphasize that the trip should be a private affair. Fei Fei immediately shuts him down and pushes him away to return to her classroom. As she leaves, Lu Fang teases her for blushing during their intense conversation. The private moment is shattered when another student accidentally bangs into the door. A crowd of students begins teasing them about their relationship, causing Fei Fei to explode in embarrassment. She storms off down the hallway, leaving the prying eyes of her classmates behind. The scene shifts as the day moves forward under the shade of the campus trees. Fei Fei carries a basket of fresh fruit while checking her phone for messages. She arrives at the hospital and prepares to enter a room in the orthopedics department. Inside, Qin is seen resting and recovering from his injuries in a quiet ward. Fei Fei checks in on his progress while setting down the gift she brought for him. A brief, awkward silence hangs in the air between the two students. She jokes about whether he even knows her name, only for him to confirm she is quite famous at school. Qin offers her his personal study notes as a gesture of gratitude for her intervention. Fei Fei accepts the notes and praises his academic dedication despite his difficult circumstances. The atmosphere lightens as the two share a friendly and encouraging moment. Elsewhere, Ni Chenai reads a text from Fei Fei asking to cancel their tutoring session to visit the hospital. He begins typing a cold response, insisting she prioritize her learning tasks. However, he repeatedly deletes his drafts as he struggles with his own irritation. Overwhelmed by his conflicting emotions, he slams his phone down in frustration. Meanwhile, San Cheng admits to his impulsive mistakes and agrees to leave Qin Shi alone for now. San Cheng finishes a glass of juice, while Ni Chenyi watches with a disinterested expression. The rest of the group cheers enthusiastically, offering to drink on Ni's behalf. Lu Fang steps in to finish the drink for his friend, explaining that Ni's strict upbringing keeps him away from anything stronger. While Lu Fang keeps the atmosphere lively, Ni remains quiet and observant of the group dynamic. Lu Fang presents a high-end foldable smartphone to replace the group's broken devices. Surprised by the generosity, San Cheng accepts the gift and thanks his wealthy friend. San Cheng then suggests that Lu Fang should dump Fei Fei for being a meddler and find a better girlfriend. Lu Fang's expression hardens as he listens to the insults directed toward Fei Fei. Ni Chenyi listens to the conversation in silence, keeping his thoughts to himself. Lu Fang firmly warns San Cheng to stay out of his personal business and stop bothering Fei Fei. Seeing the seriousness of the situation, San Cheng quickly backs down and promises to show her respect. Having seen enough, Ni Chenyi stands up and makes a quiet exit from the restaurant. Lu Fang bids the others farewell and follows Ni to see him out properly. Behind their backs, the group gossips about how Ni can't handle even a single cup of a strong drink. Outside, Lu Fang questions why Ni finally decided to step in and help Qin Shi after ignoring the bullying for so long. Ni simply claims that the classroom noise was getting too annoying to ignore. They run into another group of students who recognize Lu Fang and greet him. Lu Fang introduces Ni as a close friend while offering to cover the group's dinner bill. Zhou warns his companions that Ni isn't someone they can afford to offend, regardless of his cold attitude. Later that night, Ni stands alone outside the hospital building, lost in thought. Passers-by notice him standing still at the gate and wonder why he looks so lonely. Fei Fei spots him from a distance and shouts his name while running across the street. She approaches him with a bright smile, surprised to find him there so late. Out of breath from the sprint, she tells him she ran quite a distance just to catch up. Ni looks at her her with a gentle expression and asks if she's actually finished her homework for the day. Fei Fei walks through the city at night, feeling overwhelmed by her remaining study tasks. Ni claims he is only at the hospital to buy medicine for a cold, though Fei Fei finds the location choice suspicious. Ni hails a taxi to take Fei Fei back to her place. The two sit together in the back of the vehicle as they begin the trip home. A phone suddenly begins to ring, interrupting their quiet ride. Fei Fei is thrilled by the message she receives while Ni watches her reaction closely. She excitedly confirms that she is indeed the one being contacted. Fei Fei explains that her friend invited her to the beach for the upcoming holiday. Despite the invitation, she admits she needs to stay back and study for final exams. Ni advises her not to overstress herself and suggests she should go if she really wants to. Exhausted from her late-night study sessions, Fei Fei ends up nodding off during the ride. Ni lets her rest as the taxi driver continues toward their destination. At school, students rush toward the auditorium for the highly anticipated annual gala. Classmates gossip about Fei Fei, worried that her focus on studying has left her unprepared for her performance. The backstage area is a mess of students rushing to get ready for their segments. Fei Fei takes charge of her own appearance, applying her stage makeup with confidence. Other performers notice Fei Fei isn't in costume yet and wonder what kind of simple act she has planned. A group of girls takes the stage to perform an elegant fan dance for the audience. Students in the crowd and online watch the performance with intense interest. Lu Fang and Ni decide to head into the auditorium to catch Fei Fei's upcoming act. They arrive just the previous dance concludes and the crowd erupts in cheers. The announcer surprises everyone by introducing Fei Fei to sing the school anthem. The boys are stunned by her choice, as the anthem is usually considered a repetitive school chore. Fei Fei stands alone in the spotlight, ready to give a performance no one expected. She begins to sing the anthem with passion, determined to make the most of her moment on stage. Fei Fei sings the school anthem with incredible passion, captivating the entire audience with her confidence. On the big screen, her performance is broadcast for everyone to see as she stands center stage. Two officials in the crowd discuss how impressive she is, noting that she isn't even an art student. Fei Fei gives a playful wink to the camera, proving she has the natural charisma of a born star. A group of male students watch in absolute awe, feeling a sudden surge of jealousy toward her associates. Lu Fang and Ni Chenyi stand together in the crowd, both appearing deeply struck by her stage presence. Lu Fang watches with a subtle, intrigued smile, clearly seeing her in a new light. Fei Fei finishes the song with a bright smile as inspiring lyrics scroll across the screen behind her. She offers a polite bow to the cheering crowd, concluding her successful performance. The gala host approaches her on stage to offer enthusiastic praise for the stunning show. The host tells the audience that she has never heard the school anthem sound so beautiful before. Fei Fei beams with joy as she receives the highest score of the night from the judges. The host then asks her to share her New Year's wish with the entire school. Fei Fei expresses her sincere gratitude to the schoolmate who helped her improve her studies so much. Ni Chenyi listens from the audience, appearing pleased by her public acknowledgement of his help. Lu Fang feels a pang of regret, realizing he should have been the one supporting her all along. His expression turns serious as he realizes he may have let a great opportunity slip away. His friends tease him, pointing out that he now has far more rivals to compete with for her attention. Ni Chenyi remains composed while listening to Fang's sudden claims of falling for her at first sight. Backstage, Fei Fei looks radiant even while removing her makeup and preparing to head out. A group of jealous students gossips nearby, accusing her of calculated behavior to win over the school leaders. A girl with purple hair steps in to defend Fei Fei, telling the group to stop acting like villains. The critics fall silent and look away after being sternly called out for their behavior. The purple-haired girl reflects on the gala and begins writing down a list of personal self-improvement goals. Fei Fei walks through the auditorium, drawing stares from every student she passes. Her friends wave her over enthusiastically, having saved a prime seat for their new superstar. Fei Fei sits down with her friends, feeling relieved to finally rest after the high-energy performance. Her friends encourage her to take a break from her intense studying and join them for a trip. Fei Fei gives a happy, wide smile and officially agrees to go to the beach with them. Fei Fei's friends celebrate their successful plans with an enthusiastic high five. Fei Fei starts to panic as she realizes she still needs to book a last-minute flight and hotel for the trip. Her friends quickly reassure her that they've already handled all the travel arrangements and bookings on her behalf. The school officials take the stage to begin the formal award presentation for the top 3 performers. Fei Fei expresses her gratitude to her friends and insists on paying them back for the travel expenses. The group looks through the various keepsakes and charms they've prepared for each other. One of the friends holds up a delicate star-shaped charm, noting how much more thoughtful Fei Fei has become. The girls discuss how Fei Fei has changed and started to care more about the feelings of those around her. A wave of guilt washes over the group as they remember the secret deal they made with Lu Fang. They quickly decide to prioritize having fun on the trip, rather than trying to force a reconciliation between Fei Fei and Lu Fang. Fei Fei is called up to the stage where she proudly accepts her first-place trophy from Mr. Yang. The purple-haired ally also receives her award and listens as Ms. Yi offers some advice on her performance style. All the top winners gather together on the stage for a commemorative group photo to mark the end of the gala. Later that night, Fei 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 sends a text to Ni asking when he plans to return. While at a computer lab, Ni notices a notification flash across his phone screen during a game. Fei Fei's messages explain that it is New Year's Eve and she has something important to tell him. Ni's teammates are left in shock when he abruptly abandons the game to deal with a sudden emergency. A final text message arrives on Fei Fei's phone confirming that Ni is waiting right outside her front door. Fei Fei sneaks downstairs in her night clothes, giving a quick excuse about the trash to avoid suspicion. She steps out into the cool night air and finds Ni standing there waiting for her. Fei Fei tells him how reliable she thinks he is and thanks him for being such a patient mentor. She then presents him with a special New Year's keepsake as a token of her appreciation. Ni carefully examines the gift and realizes it is a rare meteorite sample. Fei Fei excitedly explains that she didn't buy it, but actually won the prize through a national lucky draw. The two spend a quiet moment together under the stars, enjoying each other's company away from the school drama. Fei Fei and Ni stand together in the dark while a curious onlooker watches from the shadows. Fei Fei tries to play it cool, explaining she was just saying goodbye to a classmate who happened to pass by. Chumei isn't convinced and asks if the person was actually Lu Fang, accusing Fei Fei of keeping secrets. She suspects that Fei Fei has been sneaking out to meet Lu Fang every night instead of studying. However, Chumei quickly realizes the boy she saw didn't have red hair, leading her to believe Fei Fei might be seeing someone else entirely. Fei Fei feels a sense of relief that the interaction ended, though her heart is still racing from the encounter. She decides to take Ni's advice for the holiday and sends a text confirming her beach trip plans. Elsewhere, Ni smiles while admiring the unique meteorite keepsake Fei Fei gave him. The next morning, Fei Fei arrives at the airport with her suitcase ready for the group vacation. Her friends greet her warmly, relieved that an uninvited guest couldn't secure a ticket to join them. The girls express their frustration over someone constantly trying to follow Fei Fei everywhere she goes. Classmates gather around to praise Fei Fei for her impressive performance at the recent school gala. Lu Fang arrives and hands Fei Fei a bag of breakfast he specifically picked out for her. His friends tease him for being so attentive and ensuring Fei Fei has a high-quality meal for the trip. Just as they prepare to check in, the group mentions that one more person is supposed to join the party. Ni Chenyi makes a surprise appearance at the airport, walking toward the group with his luggage in tow. Fei Fei is completely caught off guard by his arrival, shocked that he's actually coming along. Nei joins the boys and explains that he's a bit tired after staying up late the previous night. The girls whisper about a rumor from the school forum regarding Ni's social habits and his sudden change in behavior. Lu Fang takes charge by grabbing Fei Fei's luggage and leading the way to their departure gate. Upon arrival at the resort, the group leader distributes room keys and notes that Ni and Lu Fang have separate luxury suites. Due to the group's size, Fei Fei is given her own private room to stay in for the duration of the trip. A hotel attendant leads Fei Fei to her room and wishes her a relaxing holiday stay. Once inside, Fei Fei hears a sound at the door and looks over with a curious expression. Lu Fang and Nei walk through the luxury hotel corridor together, setting the stage for an interesting vacation. Lu Fang tells Fei Fei to put her things away quickly so they can all grab a bite to eat together. Fei Fei is shocked to learn that she has been booked into a luxury undersea suite complete with a personal housekeeper. She enters the room and finds herself surrounded by a stunning panoramic view of the local marine life. While admiring the fish, she wonders if Lu Fang has a hidden motive for spending so much on her accommodations. She decides that if he has something on his mind, he should just be upfront about it. Fei Fei makes her way down a grand spiral staircase, determined to see the city's sights this time around. Looking out from her balcony, she takes a moment to appreciate the beautiful scenery before heading out. After a meticulous prep session with sunscreen and bug spray, she checks her stylish floral outfit in the mirror. The group waits impatiently for her, noting that the restaurant is about to close for lunch. Everyone gathers around a massive seafood spread featuring a giant Australian lobster. The guys get into a petty argument over whether hotel's food can beat a home-cooked meal. Friends ignore the bickering and focus on taking the perfect group selfies at the table. Fei Fei studies the activity list, eager to try everything from diving to sailing during the trip. A hand reaches out to help Fei Fei with a small mess on her face. Lu Fang teases her for being messy while maintaining a helpful and clinical distance. Nei watches the interaction from the side, his expression remaining cold and unreadable. The group wraps up their meal and prepares to head straight to the beach for the next part of the schedule. Everyone joins hands for a quick huddle to build excitement before the outdoor activities begin. Fei Fei and her friend run along the shoreline, striking high-energy poses for their photos. Fei Fei tries to look elegant while posing near a lush garden of red roses. The graceful vibe is immediately ruined when she spots a worm and panics, losing her cool. A vendor approaches Ni and Lu Fang on the beach, trying to sell them bouquets for their partners. Lu Fang flashes a knowing smirk and claims he has already taken care of the flowers. The surrounding group of girls giggles and whispers, impressed by the apparent romantic gesture. One of the friends looks on with a skeptical eye, sensing there might be more to the story. When a sudden wave splashes toward the shore, Ni quickly moves to shield Fei Fei from the spray. Fei Fei offers a grateful smile, relieved that she managed to stay dry thanks to his intervention. Lu Fang and Fei Fei discuss the arrival of their beach gear while preparing for the day's activities. Fei Fei confirms if they should head to the changing rooms before hitting the sand. The group of friends gets excited about seeing all the athletic people out on the water. Fei Fei is caught completely off guard when she is presented with a massive bouquet of red roses. Lu Fang runs across the beach with his surfboard, ready to join the others. While the friends are envious of the grand romantic gesture, Fei Fei looks on with a skeptical expression. The girls discuss their plans and why they headed out to the shoreline ahead of Fei Fei. The group is stunned into silence when Fei Fei finally joins them on the beach. A playful game of tag breaks out as the friends chase Fei Fei along the water's edge. Out on the waves, a surfboard carves through a large swell with a loud splash. Lu Fang demonstrates his surfing abilities by catching a wave and maintaining his balance. Nei immediately steps up the competition by showing off even more advanced surfing techniques. Other vacationers speed past the surfers in a high-powered motorboat nearby. A refreshment stand offers a variety of chilled coconut drinks for the thirsty beachgoers. Fei Fei takes a break from the sun to order a fresh coconut from the vendor. Ni and Lu Fang walk back to the shore, trading barbs about each other's surfing skills. Lu Fang notices Fei Fei resting nearby and decides to put his surfboard down to join her. Sitting beside her, Lu Fang teases Fei Fei about how much she is enjoying her drink. Nai watches the pair from a distance, keeping a close eye on their interaction. Chumei stops Ni from intervening, suggesting he stay back and see how the conversation unfolds. Ni looks away and dismissively claims that their business is of no concern to him. Chumei watches the boys with a frustrated look, annoyed by their lack of social awareness. Lu Fang takes a serious tone and asks Fei Fei directly why she wants to end their current arrangement. Fei Fei considers her response after being caught off guard by an unexpected question. She insists on prioritizing her studies over dating before college while Lu Fang questions her logic. The young woman looks visibly flustered as the conversation takes a serious turn. Lu Fang casually sips a coconut drink while proposing they maintain their public status as a couple to deter other suitors. He offers a subtle smile, confident that their arrangement provides a mutual benefit. Fei Fei presses for more details regarding his hidden personal motivations. He remains vague, suggesting she already understands his true intentions. A determined look crosses his face as he resolves to keep her close. Later that evening, Fei Fei relaxes in her room, fully appreciating the comfort of the undersea suite. Looking out at the balcony, she notes that the rest of the group is still awake and playing games. She takes a moment to stretch and enjoy the cool night air. Catching sight of Ni Chenyi nearby, she greets him with a friendly wave. The two engage in a conversation on the terrace about why he isn't participating in the group activities. Ni Chenyi showcases his professional astrophotography equipment, explaining the mechanics of the equatorial mount. He provides technical instruction, helping her position the camera to capture a clear image of the stars. Standing together on the balcony, he points toward the brightest constellations in the clear sky. Fei Fei carefully adjusts the settings while looking through the viewfinder to align with the stars. The camera captures a breathtaking view of the deep space galaxy. She is thrilled by the results, holding the equipment with a bright smile. The pair shares a peaceful moment as the night sky glows above them. Ni Chenyi looks at her with a soft, rare expression of warmth. Fei Fei finds herself blushing as she reflects on their interaction and his unexpected kindness. Overwhelmed by her own thoughts, she makes a hasty exit back to her room while he looks on from the balcony. Fei Fei strolls through a lush garden while contemplating the complexities of relationships found in her book. Her quiet moment is interrupted when Lu Fang and Ni Chenyi appear together further down the path. Feeling overwhelmed by recent events, she decides it is best to avoid the duo for the time being. Lu Fang continues to joke around as he walks alongside a stoic Nai. Not wanting to be seen, Fei Fei quickly turns around and attempts to make a silent getaway. Her plan fails as she is spotted immediately, leaving her surprised and flustered. She confronts Lu Fang about his sudden appearance, wondering what he is up to now. Trying to escape the tension, she announces she is heading to breakfast, only for Lu Fang to tag along. The group arrives at a packed dining hall filled with other travelers enjoying the morning. As they walk through the room, the boys' good looks draw admiring stares from the other girls nearby. Lu Fang offers to serve her, but Fei Fei insists on handling her own breakfast. After getting her food, she realizes she has misplaced her book in the large, crowded room. Ni steps in and calmly provides the exact location of her missing item. Sure enough, she finds the book sitting right on the table Ni pointed out. Later that day, the students head out to make the most of the final day of vacation. Her friends are eager to visit an ancient town and capture some memorable photos. They arrive at a traditional temple area to appreciate the local history and architecture. Fei Fei takes in the sights with a cheerful expression, enjoying the peaceful environment. Inside the city god temple, they find impressive statues of the local deity and his traditional guards. Fei Fei takes a moment to offer a sincere prayer, hoping for success in her upcoming exams. She asks Ni if he wants to make a wish, but he remains skeptical of the practice. He explains that having a positive attitude and a clear conscience is more effective than relying on luck. He looks at her intently, stating that hard work is the true key to reaching one's goals. The vacation soon concludes as their plane departs, flying into a golden sunset. Looking out the window, Fei Fei feels a renewed sense of determination to succeed in her studies. Students gossip outside the international class building, pointing out the girl by the window who is busy with her studies. A group of peers notes that the school's new star is even more impressive in person than her online photos suggest. Crowds gather around Fei Fei to ask about her personal life and praise her recent musical performance. She maintains a professional demeanor, encouraging her admirers to prioritize their education over her public image. Lu Fang makes a dramatic entrance, demanding that everyone clear the doorway during the break. Onlookers admire his looks but remain wary of his notoriously short fuse. Back in the classroom, Lu Fang takes his seat while maintaining a cool and detached attitude. A girl with purple purple hair arrives to drop off breakfast and a beverage, lecturing him about his habit of skipping meals. Fei Fei checks a notification on her phone while heading out with her study materials. Across the room, Ni Chenyi notices his own device buzzing with several incoming messages. The screen displays a quick response as a digital conversation unfolds. A suspicious classmate watches Ni Chenyi exit the room, wondering if his frequent departures are tied to a secret relationship. Instead, Ni Chenyi and Fei Fei meet on the stairs to focus on solving complex mathematical vectors together. Fei Fei enthusiastically breaks down a geometry problem, showing off her improved understanding of the subject. She is thrilled to receive positive feedback on the significant academic progress she has made recently. In a lighthearted moment, Ni Chenyi jokes that she has upgraded from terrible to just bad, insisting she still has a long way to go. A pink-haired student spots Fei Fei from afar and reacts with utter disbelief at the sight. Fei Fei walks through the courtyard, mentally listing her geography and English assignments before deciding to buy a drink. She pauses with a stoic expression, recalling the painful memories of being deceived in her past life. A dark aura surrounds her as she becomes determined to hold those who wronged her accountable. Fei Fei confronts Lu Fang and a female companion, stepping between them with a look of intense suspicion. She questions Lu Fang's aggressive behavior while he tries to explain away the situation. Feeling the weight of the social tension, Fei Fei stands caught in the middle of the growing conflict. A student rushes over with a bottle of medicated wine to help her injured friend. Jiasu worries that the treatment might leave marks around her eyes, while her friend tries to reassure her. Upon seeing her reflection in a small mirror, Jiasu breaks into tears over her appearance. Lu Fang watches the emotional scene with a look of confusion and irritation. Feeling overwhelmed, Jiasu runs away while the others call out for her to go to the hospital. Fei Fei observes the drama from the sidelines as the group begins to scatter. Fei Fei quickly makes her escape, awkwardly claiming she was only passing through. Lu Fang remains behind, looking thoughtful as he transitions back to his usual routine. A hand reaches down to grab a basketball, signaling the start of a game. On the court, Lu Fang prepares for action while a purple-haired student cheers him on. He leaps into the air and scores a perfect slam dunk, impressing everyone watching. A group of girls in the stands erupts in cheers, celebrating his athletic skill. After the game, Lu Fang accepts a water bottle from a fan while keeping a cool demeanor. The purple-haired girl watches from a distance, looking frustrated by the attention he is receiving. Later that night, a group of friends gathers for a rowdy karaoke session at a private club. Lu Fang relaxes on the sofa, taking a sip from his glass while his friends sing off-key. The group gets excited after receiving a text message about some special hot arrivals. A friend bursts into the room with bags of snacks, much to the confusion of the group. It turns out the hot arrivals were just spicy chicken snacks, leading to an immediate argument. A playful fight breaks out over the misunderstanding while Lu Fang ignores the chaos. Lu Fang turns his attention to his phone as a new message notification pops up. He reads a text from Fei Fei, who formally rejects his proposal and refuses to accept his money. A friend leans in to discuss Lu Fang's history with Fei Fei, reminding him why they started dating. The friend pours another beverage as they talk about the inevitability of high school breakups. The conversation turns to Fei Fei's future plans and her decision to stay local instead of studying abroad. They clink their glasses together, continuing their discussion about the sudden change in her behavior. The friend passes on a message from Lu Fang's father regarding his plans for the upcoming festival. Lu Fang takes another drink and stubbornly refuses the idea of returning home to his family. Lu Fang's friends help him home after he clearly had a few too many drinks. One of the guys spots Fei Fei in the distance and points her out to the group. Lu Fang, looking exhausted and disheveled, coldly reminds his friends that she is no longer his girlfriend. Fei Fei heads home after a long day, looking satisfied with her new academic focus. Back at school, the teacher wraps up class by assigning the latest grammar and reading homework. Fei Fei's classmates surround her, and she openly confirms the news that she has officially broken up with Lu Fang. The girls are stunned by the revelation, noting that Lu Fang hasn't even shown up for his classes today. Fei Fei remains at her desk to study while her friend watches on. Suddenly, a notification buzzes on her phone, breaking the silence of the classroom. She reaches out to check the device to see who is contacting her. Meanwhile, a frustrated Lu Fang lies in bed and checks a mysterious friend request on his own phone. An anonymous sender sends Lu Fang a photo of Fei Fei walking with Ni Chenyi, fueling his anger. At home, Fei Fei prepares to head out into the winter rain. She receives a series of demanding texts from Lu Fang, insisting she meet him at the gate within 3 minutes. Fei Fei stares at the messages, realizing he is lashing out because he can't handle her new independence. She grabs a jar of keepsakes and prepares to face him once and for all. Lu Fang stands outside in the drenching rain, looking completely miserable as he waits for her. He remains under the streetlights, his frustration growing with every passing second. Fei Fei eventually arrives with an umbrella and the jar of keepsakes in hand. Lu Fang reaches for the umbrella, leading to a tense struggle. During the confrontation, the umbrella is knocked away and lands on the wet pavement. He holds up his phone to show her the photo of Ni Chenyi, accusing her of being a hypocrite. Fei Fei looks at him calmly, realizing his outburst is entirely driven by jealousy. She stands her ground in the rain, clarifying that she's only studying with Ni Chenyi and never betrayed their past relationship. She reflects on the many times she felt hurt seeing him surrounded by other girls. Fei Fei admits that while she used to care for him deeply, she realizes now that their relationship was unhealthy. She concludes the conversation by stating she finally knows what she wants and will no longer allow him to break her heart. Fei Fei holds a jar of paper stars, reminiscing about the hundreds of days she spent crafting them as a symbol of her feelings feelings for Lu Fang. Lu Fang turns away in the rain, refusing to listen to her final words of closure. Desperate to stop her from leaving, he pulls her into a sudden embrace while apologizing for his past mistakes. Fei Fei remains detached, calmly advising him to stop wasting time and start thinking about his own future. Angered by her lecture, Lu Fang lashes out and demands to know who she thinks she is to talk to him that way. In a fit of frustration, he shoves past her, causing the jar of stars to crash and shatter against the pavement. Fei Fei watches him walk away, reflecting on how their connection finally feels severed after a lifetime of complications. She grips her umbrella and prepares to walk away from the wreckage of their relationship. The broken glass and scattered stars lie abandoned in the rain, marking the definitive end of an era. Lu Fang lingers for a moment, his shadow looming over the mess he created in his anger. He eventually kneels down to collect the pieces, finally regretting how poorly he treated her efforts. Back at school, a substitute teacher informs the class that their PE session is cancelled in favor of another math lesson. The students are visibly annoyed, complaining that their PE teacher is constantly taking sick leave. Later that evening, Ni Cheney walks Fei Fei home under a shared umbrella while the rain continues to pour. Ni appears distracted and sports fresh bruises, struggling to focus on the conversation. Fei Fei notices his disheveled state and questions if he has been getting into fights again. He tries to brush it off with a weak excuse about falling, but Fei Fei isn't convinced. Ni informs her that since she has caught up with the curriculum, she should transition to independent night studies at school. Fei Fei expresses her gratitude for his months of tutoring and asks if she can still reach out with academic questions. After a long week of storms, the clouds finally break to reveal a clear, sunny sky. The sunlight hits the campus buildings, signaling a fresh start for the students. A student walks down the hallway, unknowingly drawing the attention of everyone nearby. Classmates begin to point and laugh as a familiar face approaches with a radical change. The boys in the classroom are completely stunned by the shocking transformation of their friend. Lu Fang makes a bold entrance, having dyed his hair a vibrant, eye-catching shade of green. Fei Fei is left speechless by the look, while the rest of the class can't stop their relentless teasing. Despite the mockery, Lu Fang maintains a serious expression as he settles back into the school environment. He remains determined to change his approach and vows to pursue Fei Fei with renewed sincerity. Fei Fei wakes up feeling refreshed and ready to tackle the day ahead. She heads to the bathroom to begin her morning routine and prepare for school. While brushing her teeth, she mentally reviews the academic advice she received to stay focused. Looking at her calendar, she remains determined to maintain a disciplined mindset for her final exams. She even looks to a photo of her former tutor for a bit of extra motivation before the big test. The final exam period concludes as the teacher strictly orders everyone to stop writing and submit their papers. Fei Fei catches up with a friend afterward, feeling uncertain about her performance in every subject except English. Her friend offers some encouragement, reminding her that significant academic progress takes time. Fei Fei heads off on her own, determined to double-check her answers against the official key. Her classmates watch her go, gossiping about whether she is still pursuing the top students. In the hallway, a group of boys stops her to make snide remarks about her reputation. Fei Fei doesn't hesitate to deliver a sharp and confident retort to their insults. The group quickly loses their nerve and backs off when they realize she isn't an easy target. Fei Fei enters a classroom looking for Ni Cheney, but finds another high-ranking student instead. He offers to help her with any difficult questions she encountered during the finals. He begins explaining a complex geometry problem to her step-by-step on the chalkboard. Ni Cheney soon arrives and joins the session to offer his own perspective. The two top students begin debating which mathematical method is more efficient for the problem. Fei Fei watches in confusion as they break down the question into multiple complex solutions. The academic rivalry heats up as they continue to argue over the best pedagogical approach. Nearby, other students gossip about Fei Fei's social standing and her recent breakup with a wealthy heir. Despite the intense debate between the two geniuses, Fei Fei eventually reaches the correct answer. After school, Ni Cheney and Fei Fei walk together and discuss their upcoming winter holiday plans. Fei Fei admits she's feeling anxious about her potential scores, but he reassures her of her own intelligence. When she finally arrives home, she is shocked to find her mother waiting for her at the door with a serious expression. Fei Fei's mother confronts her daughter about skipping night classes for an entire semester. She assumes Fei Fei has been distracted by a boy and demands an explanation. The mother lectures her on the importance of academic success, warning that a teenage romance will only ruin her future prospects. When Ni Cheney tries to intervene, the mother shuts him down and demands to know exactly who he is. Fei Fei attempts to defend him, but her mother insists that the young man speak for himself. Ni Cheney stands his ground, looking calm despite the intense interrogation. He politely introduces himself, catching the mother's attention as she processes the name. Her anger vanishes instantly when she realizes he is the top-ranked honor student she's seen on the school's leaderboard. Thrilled by his presence, she immediately invites the star student inside for a home-cooked meal. During dinner, the mother thanks Cheney for tutoring her daughter, jokingly calling Fei Fei a blockhead who is difficult to teach. Cheney remains humble, noting that Fei Fei has actually been studying hard and making significant progress. A family employee enters the room to check on another student named Chumi who hasn't come down for dinner. Fei Fei's mother continues to praise Cheney, expressing how much she wishes she had a son as brilliant as him. She teases Fei Fei further, claiming the family needs better academic genes to succeed. Fei Fei feels the pressure of the teasing and decides she needs some sugary milk tea to deal with the stress. To her surprise, Cheney recites the delivery number for the local tea house perfectly from memory. Fei Fei is stunned by his ability to remember even the most trivial details without hesitation. She recalls that he has a near-perfect memory, capable of reciting entire textbooks after reading them only once. Later, they discuss the safety of the white cat, Schrödinger, deciding it's best to keep the pet on the balcony during the holidays. Someone reaches for a door handle as they head toward Fei Fei's private space. Chenny explains that the girl Chume is actually the nanny's daughter, not a relative. He warns Fei Fei to stay away from her, while making sure the cat is comfortable. He reveals that surveillance footage proved Chume was lying about a previous incident involving the pet. Fei Fei realizes that Chume has likely held a deep grudge against her since their previous lives. Suddenly, Fei Fei panics when she realizes Chenny is heading toward a specific desk in her room. She tries to block his path, making up excuses about her room being too messy to look at. Chenny senses her nervousness and looks down at her with suspicion. He reaches past her toward a collection of keepsakes and charms set up on the table. He picks up a framed keepsake featuring his own face that was being used in a strange display. Chenny holds up the portrait and demands that Fei Fei explain why she has a tribute to him in her bedroom. Fei Fei nervously claims that keeping his photo is just a common school tradition for students looking to gain academic luck from his success. Chenny lets out a rare, genuine laugh and compliments her, making Fei Fei blush even harder. She playfully tells him that he should smile more often, because it makes him look much more approachable. Chenny suggests that instead of worshipping a simple photograph, she could just show her admiration to him in person. Panicked by the suggestion, Fei Fei quickly pushes him away and tells him it's time for him to head home. Chenny agrees to stop there so he doesn't have to walk her all the way back as they prepare to part ways for the break. Fei Fei asks about his upcoming trip to City B, noting that he will finally get to spend time with his parents. As the night grows cold, Chenny says his final goodbyes and begins to walk away into the distance. Fei Fei calls out to him one last time, making him stop and turn back toward her. With a bright and happy expression, she wishes him a happy new year and hopes they continue to get along well. Back at home, Fei Fei nervously prepares to check her final grades online, even saying a small prayer for good luck. She stares at the screen in complete disbelief as the results finally load in front of her. Overjoyed, she rushes to find her mother and announces that she ranked second in her class and significantly higher in her grade. Her mother is moved to tears by the news, offering her any reward she wants for her hard work. While Fei Fei celebrates, the household remains tense following news that Chume's teacher called home regarding her poor academic performance. They discuss Chume's situation, revealing that the antagonist's grades have taken a massive dive recently. Her mother expresses how proud she is of Fei Fei's progress, and the two share a warm, celebratory hug. Elsewhere, Chenai stands at a vending machine late at night as a mysterious biker pulls up behind him. He selects a drink from the machine, waiting for the can to drop into the collection tray. Chenny calmly takes a sip of his beverage as the newcomer waits for him to acknowledge their presence. The green-haired rider removes his helmet and asks Chenny if he plans on returning to City B the following day. Chenny tosses a small object into the trash, confirming his decision to stay behind. The green-haired biker, Lu Fang, questions why he would choose not to return to the city. Tension rises as both men lock eyes in a silent, heated standoff. Without warning, a fist flies through the air as the confrontation turns physical. Chenny catches the incoming punch and reminds his rival that all past debts have already been settled. Lu Fang swings another aggressive strike through the falling rain. Recoiling from the blow, Chenny demands to know why the other man is acting so recklessly. Lu Fang yells back, fueled by frustration and a sense of betrayal. He grabs Chenny by the collar, accusing him of being the secret benefactor behind the New Year's gala. Another punch is thrown as Lu Fang questions who was secretly helping Fei Fei with her studies. The brawl continues with a sharp knee strike as accusations of interference in past relationships are hurled. Despite being hit, Chenny refuses to fight back, citing a sense of obligation for what happened before. Lu Fang vents his anger, bringing up the way Fei Fei was treated in the previous year. The two continue their struggle in the rainy courtyard, their silhouettes clashing against the wet pavement. A street lamp flickers above as the sounds of the altercation echo through the night. Chenny finally admits his feelings and declares his intention to pursue a future with Fei Fei. Lu Fang mocks him, questioning if he is truly capable of staying by her side forever. Turning to leave, Chenny coldly states that his personal matters are none of anyone else's business. Lu Fang watches him go, his eyes reflecting a mix of lingering resentment and sorrow. The massive villa stands silent under the downpour after the intense argument concludes. Lu Fang smiles confidently, revealing his own plan to stay and win back the girl's heart while the other is away. The mood lightens briefly as chibi versions of the two bicker over hair color and failed promises. Lu Fang hops back onto his motorcycle, claiming his looks are still superior. He revs the engine and speeds off into the dark, starry night. Chenny watches the taillights disappear, convinced that his rival has completely lost his mind. The scene shifts to a sunny afternoon and outdoor shopping plaza near a coffee shop. Fei Fei tries on a stylish new pink jacket while her friends offer their enthusiastic approval. Her classmates tease her about her sudden academic success and insist she treats them to a celebratory lunch. Fei Fei waves goodbye to her friends as they head home in a car, leaving her alone at the curb. Standing on the sidewalk, Fei Fei realizes it is nearly 9 and finding a taxi at this hour will be a nightmare. Her attention is suddenly drawn toward a commotion happening in front of a nearby bar. A group of strangers surrounds a young man sitting on the ground with a bottle, trying to convince him to go inside with them. The young man remains slumped over and seemingly unresponsive to the people hovering over him. Fei Fei tries to mind her own business and walk away, but her conscience gets the better of her. One of the women reaches out to the young man, suggesting they find a room for him to rest. Fei Fei lets out a deep sigh, knowing she cannot just leave him in that situation. She steps in and calls out to Lu Fang, immediately catching the attention of the two women. Fei Fei scolds him like a family member, claiming their mother will be angry when they get home to drive the strangers off. The two women look suspicious of the claim, noting that the two do not look like siblings at all. After a bit more teasing, the strangers finally decide to leave the pair alone. Fei Fei attempts to steady Lu Fang, asking him why he is out drinking by himself. Lu Fang leans heavily against her, looking completely out of it as he mumbles about having no home. Fei Fei is forced to support his full weight as they slowly make their way down the street together. She continues to struggle with his weight while deciding the best course of action is to get him to a hotel suite. Once inside her room, Fei Fei tries to settle Lu Fang onto the edge of the bed so she can head home. As she turns to go, Lu Fang suddenly reaches out and firmly grips her wrist. He pulls her back toward him, catching her completely off guard with his sudden strength. Lu Fang hovers over her with a smirk, revealing that he might have been faking his level of intoxication the whole time. He leans in to tease her further while she pushes back, looking incredibly annoyed by the stunt. Lu Fang breaks into laughter, clearly amused by the success of his little performance. Furious at being tricked, Fei Fei grabs a pillow and prepares to strike him for his behavior. She explains that she only helped because they are classmates and she could not watch him be taken away by strangers. The realization that he was not actually drunk sinks in, leaving Fei Fei feeling completely frustrated. Fed up with his games, she prepares to storm out of the hotel room immediately. Fei Fei shoots him a final glare, demanding to know why he would pretend to be in such a state just to fool her. Fei Fei firmly refuses to stay with Lu Fang and tries to pull her arm away. Lu Fang attempts to play the victim by pretending to be sick, with a very fake-looking colorful effect. Fei Fei isn't buying the act and demands to call his friends to come pick him up. The green-haired rival continues his desperate act, pleading for her attention while she tells him to back off. He claims his new hair color is a symbolic gesture meant to earn her forgiveness. Fei Fei completely ignores his dramatic explanation and decides she has seen enough. She heads straight for the hotel room door while Lu Fang calls out to her from behind. Fei Fei pauses for a moment as he continues to ramble about his feelings from the couch. Meanwhile, Cheney walks through a traditional courtyard with the family butler. He looks incredibly serious as he prepares to meet with his grandfather. The butler heads off to get lunch ready while Cheney is directed toward the study. Cheney stands outside the study door and waits for permission to enter. Inside, his grandfather Nianguo is focused on practicing traditional calligraphy. Cheney greets the elder with a cold and distant expression. Nianguo informs him that the rest of the extended family won't be returning for the holidays. The grandfather begins a lecture about the imperial history and weight behind Cheney's name. He points to a large scroll, emphasizing the elite status of the Ni family bloodline. Nianguo reminds Cheney that he was trained from childhood to meet the highest standards of a genius. Cheney looks down, realizing that his parents are prioritizing worker him once again. His grandfather warns him that a true genius must sacrifice the happiness of ordinary people. Cheney snaps back, declaring that he is tired of being treated like an abnormal project. The elder loses his temper, telling him that failure to endure the pressure makes him a loser. He explains that Cheney's parents are bound by confidentiality agreements for the sake of the country. Done with the toxic expectations, Cheney turns his back and walks away from the lecture. Fireworks burst over the neighborhood as the city celebrates the arrival of the new year during the festive gala. Inside, Fei Fei and her mother relax on the sofa, surrounded by a variety of holiday treats and snacks. Her mother notes that it is a quiet evening with just the two of them, but she is glad to have the company. Fei Fei smiles warmly, determined to make her mother's life easier and more peaceful in the timeline. The two share a lighthearted moment as they joke about their future and personal happiness. Fei Fei grabs a bag of supplies and heads outside to join the celebration. She kneels down to carefully light a handheld sparkler in the cool night air. A small firework ignites, sending a bright glow into the darkness. Looking up at the sky, Fei Fei reflects on her past life and her resolve to study hard and succeed this year. Her thoughts are interrupted when she spots Cheney standing nearby, holding his luggage in the middle of the street. He looks visibly drained and somber, clearly affected by his recent family confrontation. Fei Fei senses his distress and realizes that even a genius faces problems he cannot easily solve. The two stand together in a supportive silence as the fireworks continue to illuminate the sky. Fei Fei eventually breaks the tension with a lighthearted comment, bringing a bit of normalcy back to the situation. Cheney offers a small, grateful smile before preparing to head back to his own place. He walks away into the night, his silhouette framed by the glowing city lights. Fei Fei watches him leave, her expression filled with lingering concern for his mental state. Back in his apartment, Cheney gazes out the window at the distant festivities, feeling the weight of his isolation. The large, modern living space remains cold and empty, reflecting his current mood. He sits on the sofa with his head in his hands, unable to escape his grandfather's demands for him to abandon personal happiness for his talent. Overwhelmed by the pressure of his family legacy, He strikes a nearby surface in frustration. Suddenly, the silence is broken by the ringing of the apartment's intercom system. A hand reaches out to answer the call, curious about who would visit at this hour. Fei Fei appears on the screen with a cheerful grin, holding up a small white cat to surprise him. Fei Fei stands at the gate with a cat in her arms, surprised to find Chenny home instead of out for the holiday. She hands over a heavy bag full of food, explaining she didn't want him to be alone during the festivities. With a bright smile, she offers him a New Year's Eve dinner to lift his spirits. Fei Fei mentions she even brought some difficult homework for them to tackle together later. Stepping into the pitch-black house, she carefully searches for the light switch. In the darkness, she accidentally steps right on Chenny's foot. The sudden contact causes her to lose her balance and stumble right into him with a startled cry. Chenny teases her for being clumsy while she tries to stay cheerful for the holiday. Fei Fei hops behind him as he complains about the lack of specialized gear for seeing in the dark. While Chenny heads off, Fei Fei takes a seat on the couch to nurse her aching knee. She notices how quiet the massive house is and decides it needs some festive energy. Fei Fei quickly clicks on the television to fill the empty rooms with sound and light. Chenny returns to the living room carrying a bottle of medicine for her injury. He looks at her with a calm, focused expression as he prepares to help. Chenny kneels down to examine the bruise on her leg from the earlier stumble. He begins to apply the ointment to her knee to help the swelling go down. Fei Fei feels a bit flustered by the unexpected attention and tries to keep her composure. The medical treatment is a bit painful as he applies pressure to the injured area. She yells out in pain, but Chenny insists that rubbing the bruise is the only way to help it fade. The pair eventually settle down to eat dinner, while working through their winter vacation assignments. Chenny notes her high ranking on the final exams and is impressed she hasn't slowed down her studies. Fei Fei declares that she has to stay focused since her second year is already half over. She smiles with her pen in hand, fully committed to getting into a top-tier university. Fei Fei confidently asserts her intelligence, while Chenny remains skeptical of her current academic standing. He bluntly tells her she just got lucky on the exams and hasn't actually mastered the material yet. Fei Fei starts to tear up, frustrated that he's bringing down her holiday mood with such harsh words. Chenny softens his tone, telling her that achieving her goals simply requires more serious dedication. Fei Fei pumps herself up, determined to reflect carefully and practice her studies earnestly. The two students go over a math formula together in a simplified, miniature style. Chenny takes charge of the cleaning duties, grabbing a lunchbox to wash it himself. The young man explains that mastering basic life skills is essential for anyone, regardless of their status. He politely declines more help, confidently stating that he is capable of cooking his own meals. Fei Fei smiles brightly, wondering if his culinary skills are limited to just simple dishes. Chenny surprises her by claiming he can prepare several famous dishes and offers to cook for her the next day. Fei Fei lists off a massive, gourmet menu of complex meals she expects him to make. Under the night sky, the pair walks together as they leave the building. Chenny insists on carrying Fei Fei home to protect her injured knee despite her protests. He carries her on his back while she invites him to join her and her friends for a holiday outing. Fei Fei mentions how lively the streets will be during the spring festival celebrations. She looks on thoughtfully, reflecting on the 3 months they've spent together and the distance he still keeps. While being carried, Fei Fei asks why he seems to dislike being in crowded areas. Chenny continues the trek home, advising her to hold on securely as they move. They finally arrive at the entrance of a traditional-style residence adorned with glowing lanterns. Fei Fei waves a cheerful goodbye, confirming their plans for lunch in 2 days. Chenny watches her leave with a calm and silent expression. Later, Fei Fei joins her friends at a restaurant where they are all dressed in traditional attire. The group is shocked to see their high-achieving classmate, Qin working as a server. Qin explains his motivation for the holiday pay and offers his schoolmates a complimentary beverage. The girls are impressed by his work ethics while they enjoy their meal at the low table. Other staff members whisper among themselves, feeling bitter that the newcomer is assigned to the best tables. A senior worker shuts down the gossip, telling the others to focus on their own work. The envious coworkers watch Qin continue his duties with professional poise. Fei Fei watches him closely, concerned that his popularity might be causing friction with the other staff. Qin serves a drink, explaining that the manager values him because he is useful to the business. One of the girls teases the pair, asking when they became so well acquainted. The group laughs as Qin jokes about being too young for anyone to date him. He explains that he wasn't just being a handsome waiter, but actually helped the manager optimize the restaurant's operations. Using his school knowledge, he breaks down the complex math of delivery platform fees and profit margins. He details how factors like delivery time and area affect the overall cost-effectiveness of the business. After dropping some serious financial logic, he politely leaves the group to enjoy their meal. The girls look completely dazed, realizing how much they've neglected their own studies compared to him. Suddenly, Lu Fang arrives with his little brother Lu Sheng, who is throwing a tantrum over eating nothing but instant noodles. One of the friends spots him and waves the duo over to join their table. Fei Fei feels a wave of awkwardness, remembering her last encounter with him as she wonders what to say. Lu Fang is quick to shut down any rumors, clarifying that the kid is his younger brother and not his son. A massive, sparkling boat of sushi arrives at the table to satisfy everyone's hunger. Fei Fei introduces herself to Lu Sheng, whose stomach lets out a loud rumble of desperation. Taking pity on the hungry boy, Fei Fei offers him a piece of food to stop his tears. While the group looks over the menu, Lu Fang explains he's stuck babysitting while their parents are away celebrating. Qin walks off into background, clearly feeling the weight of a long work shift. The girls are horrified to learn Lu Lu Fang has been feeding the kid instant noodles for 2 days straight. Lu Shang is a natural charmer, complimenting all the girls to get on their good side while his brother looks on in disbelief. Lu Fang decides to tease the kid even more by making up stories about the food, sending the boy back into a crying fit. Later, the group heads to a packed arcade to burn off some energy. Lu Fang holds up several game cards, realizing he didn't actually get one for his little brother. Fei Fei steps in with her usual kindness, offering her own card so they can play as a team. She leads the excited boy toward the machines to start their gaming session. The game card is swiped to start the match, and the competition begins. Lu Fang and Fei Fei watch the screen intently as the digital battle heats up. The action on the screen is a total blur of high-speed movement and flashy effects. After losing the game, Lu Shang breaks down in tears again, forcing Fei Fei to promise him a prize from the claw machine. Fei Fei locks in her focus, determined to win a stuffed animal and save the day. The claw manages to snag a plush elephant, but loses its grip right at the goal. Both Fei Fei and Lu Shang look absolutely crushed by the near miss at the machine. Just as they give up hope, a stuffed bear is suddenly thrust into Fei Fei's hands. Lu Fang steps to the controls, ready to show everyone how a pro handles the claw machine. A crowd of onlookers gathers around the arcade machines, amazed by a player's incredible winning streak. Lu Fang continues to dominate the machines while Fei Fei and Lu Shang stand by with a massive haul of prizes. With a focused expression, Lu Fang expertly maneuvers the controls to snag yet another item. A small keepsake falls through the prized chute as another successful win for the group. Lu Fang offers the small charm to Fei Fei, insisting she take it since he has no use for it. Fei Fei declines the gift, claiming she won't have much use for such items before her graduation. Little Lu Shang beams with joy, suggesting that the prizes are perfect for Fei Fei. Fei Fei playfully pats Lu Shang's head, telling him that he should keep the toys for himself instead. Lu Fang hands over some cash to a staff member to arrange for the heavy bags of prizes to be delivered to his home. Lu Shang is ecstatic, realizing this is the first time his older brother has won so many gifts for him. While the brothers talk, Fei Fei looks around the crowded arcade to see if she can spot the rest of their group. Lu Shang grabs Fei Fei's arm and begs her to stay and play more games with him during the winter break. The duo moves on to a high-octane zombie shooting game, blasting away at digital targets with arcade rifles. Things get intense in a racing simulator as Lu Fang drives at max speed, leaving Fei Fei and Lu Shang feeling a bit motion sick. Fei Fei and Lu Fang show off their coordination on a rhythm game, drawing even more attention from the arcade crowd. Fei Fei reflects on how her simple outing somehow turned into an entire evening spent with the Lu brothers. A bandage on Fei Fei's knee highlights a lingering injury that starts to flare up after all the activity. Noticing her discomfort, Lu Fang quickly steps in to support Fei Fei before she can lose her balance. To ensure she doesn't aggravate the injury further, Lu Fang assists Fei Fei by lifting her up to get her medical attention. Lu Shang apologizes for making her play so long and encourages his brother to carry her all the way home safely. Lu Fang remains stoic and focused on the task of getting Fei Fei home without any further accidents. Fei Fei covers her face in exhaustion, lightheartedly complaining about the situation as they head out. Later that night, the brothers relax at home while Lu Shang points out something interesting on his brother's phone. It turns out Lu Fang has a candid photo of Fei Fei set as his cell phone wallpaper. Lu Fang tries to act cool and heads for the door, telling his brother he's going back out to play more games. Despite Lu Shang's fear of being home alone, Lu Fang prepares to leave and mentions the strict security of their neighborhood. Lu Shang suddenly calls out for his parents just as Lu Fang reaches for the door handle. The boy's parents appear unexpectedly, catching Lu Fang right as he was about to sneak out for the night. Caught red-handed, Lu Fang nervously claims he was just heading out for a quick walk to avoid getting in trouble. Lu Fang's parents are fed up with his constant absences and suggest he just move out permanently. His father is especially bothered by his choice of green hair and demands he change it immediately. Lu Fang's mother leads young Sheng away to give the two some space to settle their differences. Sheng worries that things might get physical, but his mother insists they just have a lot to catch up on. The father vents his frustrations, listing off every bit of school trouble Lu Fang has caused over the years. The argument escalates as the father tries to physically discipline Lu Fang for his rebellious style. Lu Fang remains defiant, refusing to let anyone touch his hair or change his look. A flying slipper quickly ends the standoff, hitting the mark as Lu Fang reels from the impact. His father continues to mock his lack of discipline and poor combat skills during their heated exchange. He issues one final, stern ultimatum to get the hair color change right now. Lu Fang glares back, still unwilling to back down from the confrontation. Taking a seat, the father calls for his assistants to enter the room and handle the situation. 3 men in suits march in, ready to carry out whatever orders the boss has for them. Lu Fang is horrified when he hears the order to strip him of all his valuable belongings. He tries to talk his way out of it, begging his father to use reason instead of force. The assistants ignore his protests and begin confiscating his keys and bank card. Realizing he's lost his lifestyle, Lu Fang finally caves and agrees to see the hairdresser. The guards usher in a professional stylist who has been waiting for this very moment. Lu Fang sits grumpily in the chair as the stylist prepares to fix his colorful hair. Meanwhile, Fei Fei arrives home in a great mood after a long day of shopping. Her mother is waiting for her, looking calm as she prepares to deliver some news about their schedule. Fei Fei is caught off guard when she learns her plans for tomorrow have been scrapped. The mother explains that her company needs capital, and she has a high-stakes meeting with a CEO. Fei Fei shows off her new maturity by agreeing to skip her social plans to support her mother's business. Over at another house, Ni Chenyi is busy in the kitchen while checking his latest notifications. He receives a text from Fei Fei, who uses a cute cat meme to ask if they postpone their dinner. Ni Chenyi tucks the groceries back into the the fridge, looking a bit disappointed by the sudden cancellation. He stares at his phone, wondering what could have caused Fei Fei to change her mind so quickly. After reading a few more messages about the meeting in the city, he decides to adjust his own plans and head there himself. Fei Fei and her mother ride together in the car on their way to a high-stakes business meeting. Fei Fei realizes they are visiting the Wanhong Group, the powerful company owned by Lu Fang's family. She recalls a past event where she and Lu Fang attended a formal social gathering together as a couple. The pair arrives at a massive luxury estate featuring a grand fountain in the main driveway. Accompanied by an assistant, Fei Fei and her mother carry gift bags as they are led toward the entrance of the mansion. Her mother explains the social importance of addressing their host by his academic title to show proper respect. Inside, Lu Fang's father expresses his frustration with his son's slow pace in getting ready for the visitors. Lu Fang finishes his personal routine in his room before heading out to join the others. His father's voice echoes through the hall, urging him to hurry to the gate once he is fully prepared. Now dressed in a sharp suit, Lu Fang follows his father to greet the arriving business partners. The president of the Ding Ding Culture Company arrives with his family to pay their respects to the hosts. President Zhou introduces his wife and daughter, mentioning that the children attend the same school as Lu Fang. The daughter, Zhou Jiasu, offers a polite smile as the families begin their formal introductions. Lu Fang remains quiet and composed while holding a beverage during the meeting. An assistant steps forward to announce the arrival of the next set of visitors from More Culture Company. Lu Fang's father prepares to welcome the new arrivals with a pleasant and professional expression. Fei Fei and her mother enter the room, greeting the host with professional New Year's wishes. Fei Fei and Lu Fang lock eyes, both visibly surprised to find the other at this private business function. The host gestures toward the group while announcing that the representative from Qing Hua Media has also arrived. Lu Fang steps into his role as a polite host, inviting the various guests to take their seats in the lounge. The group gathers in the spacious living area to begin their formal discussion over refreshments. Lu Fang observes the situation, noting the unexpected coincidence of so many school acquaintances being present. Fei Fei's mother analyzes Lu Fang, finding his current polished appearance far more refined than she expected. The final guest, Ni Chenyi, enters the home just as the gathering reaches its full capacity. Lu's father introduces the influential Mr. Ni to the group, noting his frequent appearances in the news. Fei Fei's mother, Li Meiru, steps forward to introduce herself to the prestigious media president. Fei Fei recognizes the man as Ni Chenyi's uncle and recalls how his support was a turning point for her career in a past life. Ni Tianri returns the pleasantries, praising More Culture for its impressive roster of internet celebrities. Lu Fang jumps at the conversation, impressing the adults with his polite demeanor and business insights. Fei Fei is stunned to see this refined side of Lu Fang as he expertly discusses the world of finance. She remembers that despite his carefree attitude, Lu Fang is a financial prodigy who turned a massive startup fund into a fortune. Lu's father humble brags while enjoying a drink, mentioning that he recently saw Fei Fei's academic achievements featured in the newspaper. Li Meiru proudly shares that her daughter has made incredible progress and currently ranks second in her class. Not to be outdone, Jiasu's mother boasts about her daughter's consistent top 10 rankings since childhood. Jiasu stands by as her mother lists her high-level piano certifications and flawless academic record. Ni Tianri jokingly complains that his nephew is the worst student because he always ranks first and has no room left to improve. The business leaders share a laugh at the clever joke, enjoying the lighthearted atmosphere. Lu Fang decides to lead his schoolmates away from the boring adult conversation to find some real entertainment. Fei Fei excitedly asks Chenyi about his famous uncle, mentioning she's only ever seen him on television. Lu Fang offers the group various options for fun, from using the private gym to heading downtown. Jiasu suggests they keep things simple and watch a movie together in the mansion's private theater. Lu Fang agrees to the plan and leads the small group toward the cinema room. They enter a massive, high-tech home theater equipped with professional-grade projectors and rows of seating. As they sit down, Lu Fang points out the controls for the automatic leather reclining seats. He turns his attention to Fei Fei, asking her what kind of movie she'd prefer to watch. Fei Fei tells him she isn't picky while he mentions he'll have the staff bring in snacks and fruit. Suddenly, Fei Fei's seat begins to recline on its own, catching her completely by surprise. Ni Chenyi quickly apologizes, claiming he pressed the button by mistake, while Fei Fei tries to settle back into her chair. A silent but fierce rivalry ignites as Lu Fang and Chenyi exchange intense glares over the accident. Watching the tension from the sidelines, Jiaxu realizes she has been completely left out of the boys' focus.